Donald Trump is winning hugely. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to UnwokeThoughts. Tonight, we are talking about Donald Trump's big lead over Joe Biden, and the media is absolutely panicking. They're putting up their little empty suit, Nikki Haley, to try to coax Republican voters away from Donald Trump. But even the mainstream media cannot deny the fact that Trump is destroying Joe Biden right now. This is a clip of NBC talking about Trump's lead over Joe Biden, and it is amazing.
These are some truly stunning numbers.
They really are, Kristen. And let's just start with the bottom line. When you ask folks, hey, if it's the general election and it's Trump versus Biden, in our poll, Donald Trump now leads Joe Biden by 5 points. Compare that to the last time we polled. Back in November, Trump was ahead then, but it was only by 2 points. And it's even more significant when you look at it this way. Over time, we have been testing for 5 years now, going back to 2019, a Biden-Trump matchup. Remember, 2019, 2020, Joe Biden led. He led big in every single one of our polls. For the first time in November, Donald Trump polled ahead in our poll, and now at 5 points, this is the biggest lead NBC has ever had in 16 polls for Donald Trump over Joe Biden. And of course, undergirding all of this is this question of, he is the incumbent, Joe Biden. We ask voters, what do you think of the job he's doing? And look at that, Kristen, 37% approve and now 60% disapprove.
And we should say that is the lowest approval rating since former President George W. Bush's second term.
Wow, this is absolutely incredible news. So Trump now leads Joe Biden by 5 points. And not only that, Biden's approval rating is so low. It's the lowest for a president since George W. Bush at 37%, and 60% disapprove of Joe Biden. But we all knew this. We all know that everybody loves Trump, and this whole anti-Trump thing in media is just a big facade. But that's not going to stop the media from trotting out their own bought and paid for candidate for the Republican nomination, Nikki Haley. Here is Laura Loomer tweeting out about the Democrat presidential candidate, Nikki Haley. You see what she did there? Democrat presidential candidate. She's technically a Republican, I guess, but, she's, in every other way, she's Democrat. But she went on CNN to attack Trump over his various legal cases, because there are a lot. We all know that they are all a sham. But she said, quote, "We need a president who's going to be focused on the American people, not dealing with his legal drama and exacting revenge." And she said, so in other words, Nikki Haley thinks the witch hunts against President Trump and his family are acceptable. So yeah, Nikki Haley is using these cases, these lawsuits against Trump to try to gain some ground, gain leverage against Trump. But we all know how that looks. We all know that every time Trump gets a lawsuit, gets sued, something happens against Trump, we all know that these aren't real. These are politically motivated attacks. But listen to Nikki Haley on CNN and let me know what you think of this.
It's a real issue, Dana. I mean, we saw that he's got multiple court cases. I haven't necessarily kept up with them. I'm not a lawyer. I'm an accountant, so I don't know the legal ramifications. But what I do know is one just came down. He had a big verdict. More than that, we just saw that he, in his disclosures, his campaign disclosures, he just paid 47 different law firms $50 million of campaign donations that came into his campaign. If you see that, and he hasn't even gotten started on all these cases, for the next year, he's going to be sitting in a courtroom.
So we all know when the attacks start ramping up against Donald Trump, and we have a Republican candidate attacking Trump over these lawsuits, and instead of pointing out how corrupt they are, how much of a sham these lawsuits are, she referenced a big settlement that Trump, I guess, has to pay, which is the E. Jean Carroll settlement. And instead of criticizing that case, that lawsuit, she is criticizing the fact that Trump even got sued in the first place. And then she goes, what a cop-out, right? She goes, well, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know all the legal ramifications. You don't have to be a lawyer to see what is right before your eyes. Watch the clips with E. Jean Carroll. Follow the trail when you look at the law that was created that allowed E. Jean Carroll to file that lawsuit in the first place, and the fact that she was funded by a Democrat mega donor. It's not that hard, Nikki Haley. But Trump keeps winning despite the media attacks and the other Republican candidate who has foolishly decided to try to use his lawsuits as a way to discredit Trump. In an interview today, Trump was asked if he was going to try to flip states, blue states like New York and New Jersey in 2024. So these are historically blue states. No one would ever think about trying to flip these states red, would they? But when he was asked, Trump said, I think I will do that. I think I'll do one maybe at Madison Square Garden. And when he says do one, he is talking about a rally at Madison Square Garden. Listen to this.
The Republican Party under Trump has become a tremendous success.
Are you going to be able to flip blue states like in New York and in New Jersey? There's a rumor you're going to do a rally in the South Bronx.
I think so, yeah. I think I will do that.
Then what are you going to do?
I think I'll do one maybe at Madison Square Garden, too. I think we have a chance. New York has changed a lot in the last 2 years. We have migrants all over the street. They're living on Madison Avenue. I mean, nobody can believe what's happened to New York. The people of New York are angry. People that would have never voted for me because I'm a Republican. I mean, they're Democrats. Their parents would never, they vote for Democrats. I think they're going to vote for me. So I think we're going to give New York a heavy shot. They're very unhappy in New York, what's happening. And they're unhappy with the crime. You take a look at the crime in New York, it's at record levels. The other thing is, and very importantly, New Jersey. I think New Jersey can be flipped. I think that Virginia can be flipped. I think that New Mexico can be flipped. And I think Minnesota can be flipped. And I'm not even sure that everything can't be flipped.
Wow. So Donald Trump is very, very optimistic. And he makes some pretty good points. He's talking about New York and New Jersey. He's like, look at the crime. Look at who's in charge there. I think those states could be flipped red because nobody wants that crime to be around their homes all the time like it is. And then he talks about Madison Square Garden. Could you imagine if there is a Trump rally and Trump fills up Madison Square Garden? That would be incredible. But Donald Trump is even closing the gap when it comes to minority voters. Look at this right here. Trump leads Biden 42-41 with Hispanic voters, and Biden leads Trump 75-15 with black voters. NBC Poll finds. Now let's take a look at this poll right here, guys. Poll, 20% deficit on handling economy highlights Biden's struggle against Trump, despite a growing economy. Okay, guys, this is an NBC News article, so they're going to use any words they can to make Biden look better. And little opposition for his party's nomination. President Joe Biden confronts a dissatisfied electorate in a challenging political climate 9 months before he faces re-election, according to a new national NBC News poll. Biden trails GOP presidential frontrunner Donald Trump on major policy and personal comparisons, including by more than 20 points on which candidate would better handle the economy. And Biden's deficit versus Trump on handling immigration and the border is greater than 30 points. Wow. The poll also shows Trump holding a 16-point advantage over Biden on being competent and effective. I'm surprised it's not larger than that. A reversal from 2020 when Biden was ahead of Trump on this quality by 9 points before defeating him in that election. Oh, wait, did Biden defeat Trump? Oh, yeah. Well, we'll just leave that one alone. And Biden's approval rating has declined to the lowest of his presidency in NBC News polling to 37%, while fewer than 3 in 10 voters approve of his handling of the Israel-Hamas war. We'll also leave that one alone. Altogether, these numbers explain why the polls show Trump leading Biden by 5 points among registered voters in a hypothetical 2024 general election mashup, 47% to 42%. While the result is within the poll's margin of error, the last year of polling shows a clear shift. And here is the poll. Right here. You can see it right here. That is very interesting. Those numbers are very interesting. Perhaps the best news in the poll for Biden is that he pulls ahead of Trump when voters are asked about their ballot choice if the former president is convicted of a felony. Yet the margin then is just 2 points in Biden's favor, also within the margin of error. So that's interesting. So that is almost like that is Nikki Haley's strategy. She's priming the voters for Donald Trump maybe becoming convicted of something. I'm not really sure what she's trying to do because I think that she is ruining her career. I was talking to Christina Bobb the other day, one of Donald Trump's lawyers, and she told me that Nikki Haley has ruined her career, but she decided to do it. You know, she has totally discredited herself. No one thinks she's actually a real Republican. So it's interesting to see what she is doing. But Democratic pollster Jeff Horowitz of Hart Research Associates, who conducted the survey with the Republican pollster Bill McInturf and his team at the Public Opinion Strategy, says these findings reveal a presidency in peril. So I'm sure that means Biden's presidency is in peril, which they're just putting into words everything that we already knew. I mean, just look around, look at the state of the world right now. Is that not a presidency in peril. Quote, what is most concerning is the erosion of Biden's standing against Trump compared to 4 years ago, Harwitz said. On every measure compared to 2020, Biden has declined. Most damning, the belief that Biden is more likely to be up to the job, the chief tenet of the Biden candidacy, has evaporated. And once again, this is not news to anybody. I mean, if you guys saw James O'Keefe's video where he went undercover and infiltrated Biden's administration, he was talking to one of the head security executives in Biden's administration. Even they know, even they admit and acknowledge, not publicly but privately, that Biden is basically a dementia patient. Mick and Turf, the GOP pollster, adds, it is hard to imagine a more difficult set of numbers before re-election. But Harwitz said that Biden still has time to change voters' perceptions. Biden can take solace that we are in January and not October of 2024. At this stage in prior cycles, attitudes can change, he said. The NBC poll conducted January 26th through the 30th comes after Trump won his party's presidential nominating contest in Iowa and New Hampshire as the Israel-Hamas war enters its fourth month and amid positive news on the U.S. economy, including growing consumer confidence and more than 300,000 jobs created last month. The poll, however, was conducted before the U.S. military launched strikes Friday in retaliation for the killing of 3 U.S. service members in Jordan. Quote, inflation is coming down, jobs are growing. We created 800,000 manufacturing jobs, Biden boasts in Michigan on Thursday. Despite those statistics, Trump holds a 22-point advantage over Biden on the question of which candidate would do a better job handling the economy, with 55% picking Trump and only 33% choosing Biden. Very interesting. So it seems that the people of the United States don't think Biden is competent or up for the task. But what do you guys think? Do you think Trump is winning? Or do you think that this is a facade? Maybe Nikki Haley knows something that we don't. Or do you think that maybe Biden, something will happen that Biden would be the nominee or someone else is going to be the nominee for the Democratic Party that could maybe close these gaps a little bit? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. But until then, I will see you on the next one.